Yes, sir, Brendan. We're going to talk a little bit about not my favorite stock. You know who it is. My main man Sean's on vacay, but we got Palantir today. And the credit to the community here because, as the market started going, this is more about taking advantage of an opportunity out there when it presents itself. So I'm not going to put on your hat, buddy, but I got it right here. And the truth was, when the market started heading to the downside and the shorts were working, there was opportunity to pick up longs in the bid if you could find some levels and you could find a trade that you could structure. So we're again with one of those big down moves that wants to reverse itself, and we go to the higher time frame. And a big shout out to Henry and a few guys in the chat that had me look at Palantir pre-market to know the levels we were going to want. They just asked what we saw, and this is what we sort of came up with here. Now, you go back the last couple of sessions, you had already made this nice test at the 1350 high, but I want to highlight this 1250 bottom, right? You get this 1250 bottom right here, and then the top end of this range at 13. Now, every time it bounced off 13, you had a little support there at 1280. So at that point, when we're trading well above this range with almost 13 as the bottom, on a market dip, I'm thinking this is your target range. That sets you up for a couple of things here. One, along in front of that 1280 level in case it just holds that entire band together, or a breakdown into that range where you'd be targeting something in that 50 to 70, this hill range at the bottom, with your stop maybe just below the 1250. So in this particular regard, when we buy that Palantir dip, let's get rid of that hat there, buy the dip in Palantir, we have at least 2 or 3 ways that we can do this. Not having to buy it, average in, and just hold on forever. We have 3 distinct areas that we can take, and that way if it bounces, we have the confidence in the price area that there'll be some attraction towards it, but also know where we're going to be wrong. So we're very, very patient. It is so tempting when you want something for a dip buy to see it approach and then hit a level like this where you would just in the opening range at 13 even and say, oh, I should just go long to 13. If you did it off 13 the first time, great, it worked for you. I wasn't looking at that level. When it came the second time, I still said, no, you can't fall for that trap. It's coming right back down, lower high. I know 1280 is a level. I see it bounce off 1285. That'll give me my first entry off of 1285 when it bounces off that level and confirms it's trying to make a bottom. Once we trade lower, at that point, I even said in the show, I go, I'm taking some shares here at 87, but the long is in front of 80. So if it comes back down and retests that low, I'm certainly willing to get something in front of that 80 level and just add one time as long as we don't break 80. So that's what we end up doing. And then from that point, remember the context of the move that we're talking about here. The market was heading down. About everything was falling. I know we made a big V-shaped recovery the day before, and that's what you're hoping can happen. But what's the case if we do continue to fall? You want to make sure you're going to be profitable on the trade. So I'm pretty much always going to get some out in that first top. We then look at that next consolidation level right around that 13 area, and then you hold on to the last third for 2 exits. And these are pretty much, well, at least one of them is exactly what we had talked about in the live show, where we get into these teens here and was just above VWAP at the time, and then you're looking for the high of the day. Ideally, there would have been an opportunity to reload this trade, but truth be told, sometimes when the market rallies like that, you end up just having things work out in your favor. You just have your orders start to get filled. But key point about the Palantir trade here today was I was not particularly looking at Palantir for a trade. However, I had at least reviewed it in the pre-market, known some of the key levels that came in. So in the event that the market tanked, which it did, I knew something that I would like to dip buy and where to dip buy it and how to execute the trade. That way, you're just executing a plan instead of reacting to the market and doing it on the fly. It always pays to prepare a little bit, and it doesn't hurt that we have a lot of people that were interested in the stock, and I am used to having to talk about it and see it on our live show. So there's Palantir for you. Always an opportunity to play the moves at the open, especially if they're against the grain. Just have to have a plan.